well known, anybody who's ever been to a Shabbat meal knows that the men come home from the synagogue, the shul, they walk into the house, and then there's a song that is sung called Shalom Aleichem, different tunes for this song, and it's a song that welcomes the angels, which the Talmud say accompany a man as he comes home from shul. We welcome the Shabbos angels into our home, and then we conclude, we say, Tzeichem Shalom, should leave in peace, referring to these angels. Now, this is a tradition in almost every Jewish home where the Shabbos meal is had. It's not a halachic requirement, but it's a very, very strong tradition. Well, the Chafetz Chaim, Rabbi Yisrael Meir Kagan, who lived from 1838 to 1933, and he wrote several classic works for the Jewish people and was the unchallenged leader of his generation. Now, the Chafetz Chaim lived in Radin, small town, and one Friday night there was a yeshiva student in transit from one city to another in Russia, and as he got off the train he had to spend Shabbos in Radin, and he came to be a guest at the Chafetz Chaim's home. And when he came into the house, the Chafetz Chaim sat down with his family, and they came in from the shul, from the davening, from the prayer session, sat down at the Friday night table. And when they sat down, the Chafetz Chaim immediately picked up the cup of wine and he began making Kiddush. Okay, made Kiddush. Then everybody washed their hands. They made a motzi. They sat down, they ate. And they ate the meal. And then the young man, who was exhausted, went back up to his room and he went to sleep. And the family members asked the Chafetz Chaim, what happened? We didn't sing Shalom Aleichem when they came in from shul. Why you seem to be in such a rush to get to the meal? Why didn't we sing Shalom Aleichem? Chafetz Chaim smiled, his warm smile. He said to his family members, look, this young man has been in transit all day. He's been on trains. He hasn't eaten much. He was probably starving. You saw how he ate at the table. He was ravished. The angels are not hungry. The angels could wait. So the angels, we sang Shalom Aleichem in the middle of the meal. The young man is a human guest. A guest comes into our home. We have to think to ourselves, what is the most important need for this guest right now? And therefore, I sensed his hunger, and I decided we could do away with the Shalom Aleichem, get to the meal, let him eat, and only afterwards we could sing the Shalom Aleichem. And there's a very important message here in general that when a guest comes into a home, we have to be concerned for the needs of the guest. Sometimes somebody comes to visit from overseas, and we may want to then engage them in conversation and find out how things are doing. Person has to know that if we bring a guest into our home, our concern has to be for the guest, not for ourselves. And the most important concern for a guest is, number one, to provide them with a comfortable bed. Most people think it's the food. Food they'll eat. They need a good bed to sleep on, a comfortable room, number one. There was a great rabbi who had a habit when a guest would come into his house, as soon as the guest would walk in, he'd say, hello, how are you? And he would immediately turn and he'd say, the restroom is over there if anybody needs a restroom, because he knew how awkward it was for people to ask, where is the restroom, where is the bathroom? And therefore, as soon as they came in, he would welcome them, assuming they've been in transit and they need to use the facilities, and he would take the trouble to point it out to them. And therefore, we should always remember, if we bring people into our homes, guests that we have in our homes, our concern should be thinking about what are their needs, how can we make them more comfortable, as opposed to, and set aside those things which may not be absolute requirements for the good of those things which actually are.